Let me thank each one of you for coming today. And as all of you know, the Agriculture Committee has been a little busy the last several months working on a small piece of legislation that's normally called the Farm Bill. This year it's called the Nutrition and Energy title, and the House passed it yesterday. And now that we've finished the work on this piece of legislation, I think it's appropriate that we turn our attention to other issues affecting American agriculture. And today's hearing is on a subject for which I've been hearing a great deal of consternation, not only from farmers, but from a lot of average people in general in my district and really across the country. Not only does energy trading affect industrial users of energy products and consumers, it affects agricultural producers as well. While everyone agrees on the facts, there is no consensus on the theory behind the recent run-up in commodity prices or increased volatility. The gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for holding this hearing. We, members of Congress, find ourselves sort of in between all of y'all and the folks that we represent. In a district like mine, what people see is increased gas prices, diesel prices, food prices, general commodity prices. And for an awful lot of the folks that I represent, an increase of 10, 20, 30% in 30, 40, 50%, 60% of a family budget is devastating, just devastating. And so naturally, we're being assailed with all kinds of questions about what is going on. None of the answers seem particularly convincing to anybody because this has happened so suddenly. I see on page 2 your summary of the macro-microeconomic forces at work here. That's basically the letter that I send out when people ask me about this. Doesn't satisfy folks. That's not surprising that it doesn't satisfy folks. I also see, right after that, again on page 2, your caution that you don't necessarily have the answers. That certainly doesn't comfort people. It doesn't comfort somebody like me. It's understandable. I accept that. But it's very difficult to send a letter back in response to somebody who's really hurting and not understanding this, saying, here are the forces generally, but we don't really understand what's going on. That's a very difficult position to take. And we're just looking for help up here. And I got to tell you, it would be very helpful if I sensed a little bit more alarm than I sense. For the families that are affected by this is a huge alarming phenomena that if the experts here are saying we don't know and it could go on for quite some time with sort of calm, measured voices, that's not comforting at all. If you could flip to chart 9, quick question here. A lot of people have worried that the movement of money out of different asset classes and into other asset classes, away from subprime mortgages, whatever it is, into this area, is somehow causing all prices to move up. And that this is just a lot of capital in the world, and capital looking around for security, for investment opportunities, that sort of thing, perceived by ordinary folks not to be real, just rich people making money off a bad situation. That's how it's perceived. And if you take a look at this, if I understood your testimony correctly, the idea here is that this chart suggests that people are taking short positions, long positions about equally, and so you shouldn't be too concerned. Yet I see the green is a lot more than the brown. And then on top of that, and we've seen this in the cotton business for sure, people taking short hedges, worrying about having to make margin calls. I'm going to have to sell my seat in exchange to stay in the game. Seems to me that the market would generally, under these circumstances, be saying, oh my God, all this money is going to flow in here. Prices are generally going to be driven high, whether you call it, as somebody just said, panic demand or not. Prices are going to go up, so we better not be taking short positions here. There are a lot of investors out there that are just going to park their money. It's going to be long. And that's a large part of the phenomenon. Yeah, you know, there's just general consumption trends worldwide. You've described that as well. That's something that we probably have to live with and adjust to. But to what extent can you safely say, well, what percentage? You estimated maybe 25% is weak dollar. What percentage of this is just a whole bunch of money flooding into these different commodities?
Well, before I answer that, could I just say that if my voice sounded calm or if our voice sounds calm, it's not from a lack of concern. We're really busting our butt to be following these markets, and we take it very seriously, and we completely understand the importance of this to all of the American
If I could just briefly interrupt, you know, I think you guys do a great job of watching for market manipulation, conscious efforts, you know, that are improper under our rules, criminal in some instances, to manipulate the market for financial advantage. That's not what we're talking about here. I think we're talking about general trends that are very problematic for a huge hunk of our population. So what percent?
Well, I would say, in my opinion, the safest assumption in crude oil, which is the graph we're looking at, is that it is zero, that the market is reflecting. Now, obviously, from day to day, there may be days when particular trading, not by any means manipulative, but speculative trading may create a liquidity effect that moves prices, but that would quickly abate over time. So I think the safest assumption is that the futures market is reflecting the fundamental reality of demand and supply for crude oil.
And Mr. Harris, you agree, and my time's up, so you're
No,
not.
I think I would reiterate that we have the most detailed data in this market, in these markets, than almost any market in the world, and I would agree. I think we see that the market seems to be functioning appropriately, reacting to demand and supply.
Yeah, we're all ears if you've got some good ideas how we address this for these ordinary Americans who are really struggling as a result of this. And it's happening too soon to say that this is just sort of normal stuff. It's not. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I thank the gentleman.